Hey harmonizers, welcome to chilly Canada. These are some horses waiting for their dinner, and I wanted to show you guys around how do we cope with this minus 15, minus 20 degree weather that we're going to be hitting this next week in cold Canada with our horses that live outside. And you can see a lot of them are wearing blankets because it is so cold. And I'm going to show you some of the different feeders and how we do our hay, because it's so important that horses have enough hay to stay warm, but you got to make sure it's good quality hay. So we feed round bales because it's the easiest thing to do. All that netting you see on the doors to keep birds out from going in and pooping on our hay. And that's my hubby driving the tractor there, bringing the round bales out. And the round bales are about 800 pounds of hay, and it's the easiest way to feed hay, especially with it being so cold. If you do small squares of hay where you feed individual rations, you have to go out several times a day to do that. You have to kind of control who's getting what. It's very, very tricky, especially you can see we've got our little pony. That's Dare, Evelyn's little pony, and then we've got a bunch of horses here. And it's much easier to just feed the round bales. Of course, some of our horses are a little bit overweight, but I'd rather have some overweight horses than have underweight horses. And especially to stay warm, we don't want horses getting frostbite. We've had actually a boarder in the past who came from a different facility. Their horse was missing half an ear because it had frostbite in the past. So it's important that horses have access to unlimited hay. The feeder here that you guys see, this is an octagon feeder made out of those flex boards. So it's like a composite material. It's not wood. And they're kind of okay because you can flip them. Originally, they're supposed to have a net that goes over them, but in the winter, it all just freezes to the ground. So that's impossible to do. So instead, we just put the hay over top. And the boards will sometimes crack or break, so we've had to reinforce them a lot with some bolts. Some of the pieces have had to be replaced with wood to help it all hold together. But they're convenient in that you can just put the bale over top. Of course, there's no protection for the hay bale if it rains or something like that. However, we have enough horses in the field that if it does rain, they eat it fast enough that it doesn't really matter. Usually with the number of horses that we have in the field, we're putting out hay every few days, and it's okay because it allows the bales to get eaten fast enough. If your horses don't eat the hay fast enough, then there definitely becomes the risk for mold. So you have to be careful about that. In this field here, we're going to be putting a bale of hay out to the boys, and in this one we've actually got the hay feeder pushed up close enough to the fence that we don't have to go through that extra gate, which just makes it a little bit more convenient. So having a tractor with a front loader, super handy, and you can see how much faster it goes when you have two people working together, my husband driving the tractor and me pulling the netting off the bales, and then he's able to just pop it up and over the fence, which if I could go back in time and redesign my fields, I probably would make it such that we could do this for all of our feeders, but we don't have enough space around the edges to do that kind of thing. But if we could do this for all of our fields, that would be super convenient to just go over the rail and have the feeder next to the fence. This is another one of those same composite feeders, and you can see that there's a board missing. It's not like dangerous, but it's definitely not cosmetically pleasing, where it's just a little bit crooked. Secret comes over to say hi. She's getting in the video, but that's okay. This is a different style of feeder. This is one of the steel tombstone feeders. And again, it's super easy that you can toss the hay up and in. But the interesting thing about it is it's metal, so it's kind of hardy, but it can kind of bend in weird ways. And so you have to be a little bit careful with them. You can see as I come around here, I don't even know how horses bend them, but you can see the one part is sticking out. There, it's still totally safe, so we're still using it, but you do have to be careful because when they break, they have like jagged edges. So it's not my favorite feeder to use. I'd rather use the composite ones, even though they're technically more breakable. They're also easier to fix, and when they do break, they're not super dangerous. And then we have these feeders that have a little roof on top, which is super handy. And when I ordered them, I asked them to make them big enough for the round bales and specified a distance for them, and they ended up making it a pretty tight fit. So usually we drive the bale in and I cut the strings off while it's already in the feeder. So that way it doesn't pop and go everywhere. And these feeders, even though they look super cute, they were so poorly designed and built to the point that we had to reinforce them with a lot of extra wood because legit from opening the door, a windstorm blew off the roof and completely collapsed it to the ground. And so it needed a lot more reinforcing in the frame. So as we go along in our horse farm journey, we learn all the different things that we have to do to help keep things safe. And we added the extra pieces of wood. We're trying it out where you can see kind of those columns at the side. You'll see it better when I come around the side. And the reason why we did that is to see if it could help hold some of the hay in the feeder a little bit better, just because we had an issue with a lot of it tends to fall out. And although the horses like it as a bed, it's nice if we can keep more of it in for them to eat. So you can see I'm pulling all the hay out. It's a little bit tricky, or all the strings off. And then we take those away to the burnable garbage that we have. And James is going to lower the bale and back it out. We also had to adjust the door because the door was made in such a way that in the wintertime, it didn't actually work. So we had to take off the bottom board so it can slide over the snow. And even still, you can see I struggle with it there, getting it shut. And that's just because when winter happens, your hay feeders kind of sink into the ground a little bit and the snow builds up all around it and it makes it really, really tricky. So that's a good feeder style though, because it keeps it protected. So I also wanted to show you guys our watering for the winter time. Our horses have automatic heated waters and we opted for the little water bowls and we put them with the 2 water bowls straddled between the fence line there. And what that means is that the horses get an actual bowl of heated water. So there's water there that they can drink. It's not like one of those push ones where they have to push down on something, because that's tricky for horses to learn how to do. And if they're really thirsty, they can go up and just drink a whole bunch of water. It's all there waiting for them. And you can see the fence line is right next to the water trough. So they've got lots of access there. And then that way they've got everything they need. So you guys can let me know, if you had a farm, which of those hay feeders would you choose? I'm curious. Remember to subscribe and check out harmonyhorsemanship.com for even more learning.